Hey, what is up, Internet? Kyle here, Slapshot Toys, getting to do another Hot Toys action figure review for you this evening. And tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Sideshow exclusive, the Dark Knight TwoFace 2.0. So this figure is a new version of the Dark Knight TwoFace. Hot Toys actually put one out several years ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't collecting Hot Toys at the time, so this is definitely a figure I was missing from my collection. So this is kind of a retooling, I guess you could call it. So it's got a new head sculpt, it's got new material on the suit, and some other differences like a new base and things like that. So obviously I have never actually owned the original figure. I've only seen pictures, but I'll kind of, as best as I can through different pictures and stuff, I'll try to explain what the differences on this figure are. But I am super excited to be able to show it off to you. So let's not delay that any further. To the light box.
And here's Harvey Dent, aka TwoFace, out of the packaging. And overall, I think Hot Toys did a fantastic job with this figure. Now, I'm sure a character like TwoFace is probably not the easiest character to actually make a figure of, just because, let's be honest, in the world of Batman rogues, TwoFace is kind of basic. There's no elaborate, battle combat ready suit. There's no over-the-top zany weapons as you get with, Riddler and Joker and Mr. Freeze and all these other characters. It's just a lawyer, a district attorney that has burns on his suit and face, and that is about it. But I definitely feel that Hot Toys nailed the representation of Aaron Eckhart from the movie, and they did everything that they could to make this a standout figure if you're a TwoFace and Batman fan. And I'll show you all of it in more detail in just a second. But as with all my Hot Toys reviews, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the accessories first, and we'll start with the stand. The base is one of the upgrades we get with this 2.0 version of this figure. The original one was just a black oval base that had the Dark Knight Bat logo on it and then said TwoFace, and that was it. This one obviously has a lot more detail, so we get this really nice silver plaque here on the front that does say TwoFace. I really like the texturing that they put on this base here with the kind of glossy shininess of the Bat logo kind of busting through, and then you have this like almost kind of like sandpaper like texture here with the red kind of scarring on the back, and then you obviously have TwoFace's coin. So this is definitely a nice upgrade for this figure. So the first issue that may arise with this figure is the extreme lack of accessories, but honestly, I don't know what else Hot Toys really could have given us, because this is really all that TwoFace uses in the film. But what they have given us is basically one full set of hands. So we have these open hands, and then everything else is accessory hands. So we have the trigger finger, we have the button / coin holding hand, and then we have this kind of odd one that's like, I don't know, taking a rope or something from somebody. I really don't know what this one's for. It doesn't go with any of the accessories, but everything else is sculpted beautifully. I absolutely love this like flesh tone that they use here on the back of it with all like the freckles and everything. I think that looks fantastic. You get some beautiful sculpting, even like the veins and stuff run on the back of the hand. You get some nice creases there over the knuckles. Fingernails look really good, and then on the inside you have some wonderful creases there on the inside of the palm. I think they all look phenomenal, but these are the only hand options that we are given. As far as weapons and other accessories, obviously we have his revolver. This looks fantastic. I love this gunmetal silver that they used on it. It really shines very nice underneath the lighting, as you can tell. The grip and everything looks very detailed, really nice textured. You get like the screws and everything holding it all together. I think that looks really good. The revolver here does rotate. I thought that was really cool. And then it does open, and you can see the bullets and everything on the inside. So I thought that was a fantastic inclusion to detail for Hot Toys for that revolver. We are also given this glass tumbler with, I would assume, scotch, because that's usually what district attorneys drink, right, if you watch movies. But this looks really nice. I mean, some nice detailing there on the bottom of the glass looks really nice. And then obviously there's some brown plastic in there to be whiskey, scotch, bourbon, whatever it is. Next up, it wouldn't be TwoFace without his coin. So they have given us the coin. This looks really cool, and like amazing detail they got on something so small. And as you can see here, there you have the Lady Liberty head, which looks wonderful. And then on the other side, you have the scratched out Lady Liberty head. So once again, I can't believe they got that much detail on something so freaking tiny. And then the last thing we are given is the I Believe in Harvey Dent campaign button. Once again, this looks really nice. You get the American flag right there, I Believe in Harvey Dent. And then just to keep realism, you do have the pin and little holder there on the back. I think that was an awesome attention to detail from Hot Toys. And now taking a closer look at TwoFace himself. The major difference between this figure and the original one is that this one does not come with the Harvey Dent full face sculpt and the unburnt jacket. This one is only this TwoFace head sculpt and obviously the burnt jacket. And then you can kind of see here in this photo of the original one, I feel like the original one looks a little bit I don't know, more kind of plastic, a little bit more like a toy, whereas this one looks has a little bit more realism to it, especially if you look over here on the burnt side of his face. Like, there's some really nice detailing. I feel like the original one was very kind of heavy on that charred black, and then what we get on this one is a much more kind of, I don't know, natural looking burn to it, where we have a lot more of the red kind of coming through. The eye looks phenomenal there with like the really glossy paint that they put all around it. I think that looks amazing. And then everything there with the jawbone showing, the chin bone showing, and the teeth, everything, and all the tendons just looks fantastic. I feel like Hot Toys did a wonderful job and really kind of stepped it up with this new release to make it just have a little bit more realism, I think is the word I'm looking for. And then the Aaron Eckhart side looks phenomenal as well. Really love that kind of gold, I don't know, brownish gold that they put through all out the hair, all that sculpted out beautifully. Really nice shine to it. Like I said, his half of the face looks pretty much exactly like Aaron Eckhart, especially at certain angles. So I think they did a fantastic job with that. And then now coming down, the other thing I noticed, like kind of just looking at pictures of the old figure, is this suit looks a lot more kind of form-fitting and tailored. Just looks a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. So I really like that. Love this blue that they used. Some really nice fabric there on the suit. The only issue I do have with this particular figure, and I think it may be just the one that I was sent, is so they glued this tie here on the back kind of crooked. So what happens is when it tries to lay flat, it kind of goes off to the side, as you can see there. So that was kind of annoying when I first got it out. I had to play with it quite a bit and kind of basically get it underneath the coat for it to stay somewhat normal. I don't know if that's all the figures or just mine, but that is, and you can see it still pops out a little bit right there. So that is something, an issue I did have with this particular figure. And then come over here to the burnt side, you get some wonderful detail of all the acid kind of eating through his suit. That looks really nice. I'm a little bit concerned, since this is like kind of like a pleathery, almost like kind of like a sprayed on texture, that this may start to flake, much like the capes and things of Batman when they have that pleather. So that's something I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on, but the detail and everything around it looks fantastic. Once again, you get some nice detailing there at the bottom of the coat, and then the legs are just these suit pants, so not a whole lot of detail. The thing that's I've always wondered about Two-Face is when, you know, in the scene, he knocks himself over, he knocks over the vat of chemicals, and wouldn't that get on his pants too, you would think? I don't know, I've always thought it was interesting that they never actually put the burns on the pants, that they're just clean, but I'm not a physics major. I have no idea. You know, maybe his legs, since they were tied to the chair, were up off the ground. I don't know, but I've always wondered that. And then the feet are very nice, just dress shoes. Really like the stitching and detailing that they put all through there. The glossy paint looks fantastic, and some nice tread at the bottom. And that's our Two-Face. And taking a closer look at the articulation on this figure, as far as head movement, it does pivot side to side a decent amount, so not bad there. It can rotate all the way around, so if you want to do some exorcist type poses, you can definitely do that with this figure. He can look up a fairly decent amount, and he can also look down a fairly decent amount as well. So pretty good head articulation. As far as the arms, they will go out about 90 degrees to his body there. You do get some kind of weird bunching there in the shoulder pads of the suit. I really don't feel like there's a whole lot of pooling there. The only thing I would be a little bit concerned about, like I said, is just this texture that they put on the burnt side, that the more you play with it, the more that it might actually start to come off of the suit jacket. So that'd be my only concern there. As far as the rest of the arms, they can rotate forward about that far before you get some major bunching there in the suit. And then as far as going back, he can go about that far, so decent amount there, but once again, you do get some weird kind of bunching there. There is a cut up here in the bicep, so that does rotate. He is double jointed at his elbow. The only issue there is the suit does hinder it just a little bit, and it does bunch up in the actual joints. And then his hands do rotate, and they are hinged up and down, so decent range of motion there. As far as the actual body, there's a good amount of pivot here at the waist. He can go forward quite a bit, and then he can go back a good decent amount as well. As far as the legs, they are hinged here at the thigh, so those do rotate. He can kick forward about that far before you really start getting some pulling there in the pants. As far as kicking back, he can go not as nearly as good as far as you're going to be able to get him. He is double jointed at the knee, and it does have that kind of weird ratcheting system, so you hear the click there. But because these pants are fairly loose, you get full range of motion, and you're not going to have any issues with the suit tearing or anything like that. And actually, I never even noticed. Look at that, little business socks. Huh. Never even thought to look that they actually put socks on it. As far as the feet, they do rotate. There's a very good amount of ankle pivots, and they are hinged up and down, but you do get kind of weird gaps, as you can see there. And here's just a quick side-by-side comparison of a couple other Nolan Universe Batman hot toys. So we have the Joker Bank Robber 2.0 figure, and we have the Batman Begins Batman. And honestly, as you can see here, they all look fantastic next to one another. I really want to get the Dark Knight Batman eventually, the DX12, which is actually the Dark Knight Rises, but that figure is like the highest on my grail list, so that's one I'm definitely looking out for. But just even the Begins one looks fantastic with these figures. So that is going to do it for my review of the Hot Toys Sideshow exclusive TwoFace 2.0 reissue figure. Like I said throughout this review, I definitely feel like Hot Toys nailed the aesthetic of TwoFace from the film, and they definitely made some improvements to this figure as opposed to the first version. Now, there are obviously some things that you are not getting with this figure, much like the Harvey Dent face sculpt and the unburnt jacket, but at least in my opinion, I want TwoFace in my collection, not necessarily Harvey Dent, so I'm perfectly fine kind of with that trade-off of not getting those accessories for a better head sculpt and kind of more of a tailored look in the suit. But overall, I highly recommend this figure, especially if you're like me and you missed out on the first version of TwoFace and you want to add one to your Hot Toys collection. This is definitely, I think, the way to go. At the time of this review, Sideshow still has this guy available. There's a link in the description below where you can purchase him if you have any interest. But overall, I highly recommend it if you're a Batman Hot Toys collector. So once again, that is going to do it for this review. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out these videos. I hope everyone out there is staying safe. I hope you guys are all staying healthy. I hope you're not going crazy in all this quarantine madness. I definitely am starting to feel the itch a little bit of not being able to go to toy stores or sporting events and all that stuff, but we got to stay home. We got to stay safe. We got to keep everybody that we can healthy, and I hope everyone is just surviving this, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to normal sooner than later. But once again, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out these videos. If you guys like this review, if you guys have any comments, questions, anything about this figure, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. If you guys like this review, give it a big thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a big thumbs down. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any future content, including a couple more Hot Toys reviews. I have some Lego sets coming, a bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline, so definitely don't want to miss out on that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And once again, that is going to do it for me this evening. Thank you guys so much for checking out these videos, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.